All right, buckle up, everyone. We are shifting gears, moving on from those super tight, twisty streets of Monaco and heading straight to a circuit Formula knows, well, like the back of its hand, Barcelona. The buzz is definitely building after, a couple of really intense races back to back. So let's unpack this. We're doing a deep dive today into everything you need to know about the upcoming Formula One Spanish Grand Prix for 2025. This race in Barcelona, it's the next big one on the calendar, and it actually wraps up this busy stretch we've had. Imola, then Monaco just gone. We've gathered insights from various reports and analyses that lay out all the essential details, everything from what went down last race to the full weekend schedule, and crucially, how you can catch all the action.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here is how the results from those last few rounds, especially in Monaco, kind of set the stage, right, for the
Yeah.
championship picture as we head into Spain. So this deep dive, it's not just about listing off times and dates. It's about understanding the context, the momentum that the sources are describing.
Exactly. So our mission for you today is basically to pull out the absolute must-knows from all this material. Make sure you're totally dialed in for the Barcelona weekend. We'll look at the key takeaways from Monaco, see how that race shuffled the driver standings, and get you completely sorted with the schedule and the viewing options across different regions.
Thinking about that context then,
Yeah.
it does raise an interesting question, doesn't it?
Hmm.
How do these recent performances, maybe especially for drivers with that home connection to Spain, how does that influence what we might expect this weekend?
Good point. So first things first, where exactly does this race sit in the championship story? The reports we looked at indicate the Spanish GP is race number 9 for the 2025 season.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture,
Right.
yeah, this event at Circuit de Montmeló, it actually concludes that triple header run. Those 3 back-to-back races, coming right off Imola and then Monaco.
Ah, yes, Monaco. Let's definitely talk about that for a second, because it certainly threw up some interesting results, things that really impact the situation heading to Barcelona. Here's where it gets really interesting. What were the absolute key outcomes from Monaco that the analysis highlights?
Well, the big headline, obviously Lando Norris taking the win. He managed to convert that pole position into the victory on Sunday. A solid performance.
And who else was up there with him on the podium in Monte Carlo?
Charles Leclerc finished second. He was putting pressure on Norris, throughout the race, but couldn't quite get past. And Oscar Piastri, he secured third place, which was, well, pretty crucial for his championship position. Important points for him.
Interesting. Some reports noted that the new two-stop rule, it was technically in effect for Monaco, but despite that, they described the race itself as having poca acción, little action.
Yes. That observation about the lack of on-track excitement, it definitely came through clearly in the sources. And on a slightly different note from Monaco, maybe worth mentioning, Williams managed to get both of their cars into the points, which, as some reports noted, is a really solid result for them.
Okay. What about the Spanish drivers then? The analysis we have specifically calls out that their weekend in Monaco, well, it wasn't great. A tough one.
That's definitely the picture painted, yeah. Carlos Sainz, he finished down in 10th place, just managed to salvage that final point. It seems his race was really shaped by strategy calls. On the positive side for him, though, he did get back into the points after drawing a blank in Imola.
Right. But for Fernando Alonso, it sounds like it was particularly challenging.
Oh, very much so. The reports state he unfortunately had to retire from the race. Engine problems with his Aston Martin AMR 25. He'd actually started in 6th, so that retirement was a real blow.
Yeah.
It means he's still looking for his first points after these initial 8 races of the season. Quite a drought.
Wow. Okay. So looking at all of that, what does it mean for the championship picture as we head to Barcelona? The latest standings, they must provide some telling details after Monaco.
They do. Oscar Piastri is still leading the championship, but Lando Norris is now right on his heels. Just 3 points behind after that Monaco win. It really, really closed the gap at the top.
And what about Max Verstappen? We're sort of used to seeing him right at the very front.
Well, the reports place Verstappen in 3rd currently, and they specifically point out that the McLaren drivers, often called the papayas, right? They're starting to build a bit of a lead over him in the points table now. The standings also show George Russell holding 4th, followed by the 2 Ferrari drivers, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Further down, Alex Albon scored more points, which brings him closer to Kimi Antonelli, who didn't score in Monaco. Esteban Ocon is sitting in 9th, and Isaac Hadjar actually moved up to 10th after a strong result.
And where does that leave our home heroes, Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso, in those standings?
Right, so Carlos Sainz's point in Monaco puts him in 12th position overall. Fernando Alonso, well, after that retirement, he unfortunately remains with 0 points so far this season.
Okay, let's shift our focus then, specifically to the Barcelona weekend itself. We've got the full schedule breakdown here for the Spanish GP at Circuit de Montmeló. It runs from May 30th through to June 1st. Starting with Friday, May 30th, what are the crucial timings we need to know, according to the reports?
Okay, so free practice 1, that's scheduled from 13:30 to 14:30, and that's local Spain time, remember? Then free practice 2 follows later in the afternoon, from 17:00 to 18:00, again, local Spain time.
Got it. And how about Saturday, May 31st?
Saturday kicks off with free practice 3, that runs from 12:30 to 13:30 local time. Then the big one, the all-important qualifying session, that's set for 16:00 local Spain time, 4 o'clock.
And finally, the main event, race day, Sunday, June 1st.
Yep, the lights go out for the race itself at 15:30 local Spain time, 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon, and it's planned for a total of 66 laps around the Montmeló circuit.
Now, the reports we have are actually really helpful here. They provide these times translated for several other countries too. Just as an example, if you happen to be tuning in from, say, Argentina, FP1 on Friday is at 8:30 a.m., FP2 is at midday, 12:00. Then Saturday, FP3 is at 7:30 a.m., qualifying is at 11:00 a.m., and the race start on Sunday is 10:00 a.m. Argentina time. Definitely check the full information provided in the sources for your specific location, yeah? Make sure you don't miss anything.
Good shout. The reports also detail how you can follow all the action from Barcelona. So in Spain, you can watch the F1 action live on television. The options mentioned are the DAZN F1 platform and also Novistar Plus Day.
Right. And for those watching from other regions that were mentioned.
Okay, so for viewers in Colombia and Peru, the races are shown via Star Action and ESPN. If you're in Mexico, it's through FOX Sports Mexico. For Chile, the transmissions are on Star Action and FOX Sports Chile. Argentina actually has multiple options listed, Star Action, ESPN, and FOX Argentina. And if you're tuning in from the United States, you can catch the event via ESPN.
Okay, quite a few options there. What about online streaming?
Yeah, alongside those broadcast channels, the reports note that in all those countries we just mentioned, except for Spain, you can follow the championship on the official F1 service, which is F1 TV Pro. Now, for those in Spain, in addition to the TV coverage, you also have the option to follow live updates online. Websites like marsa.com are mentioned, and you can listen via Radio Marsa too.
So there you have it. That's a focused look at the essential information you need for the upcoming Spanish Grand Prix. Drawing directly from the reports and analysis we've been digging into, we've recapped the key moments from Monaco, the standing shifts, and given you the full rundown on the Barcelona schedule and, importantly, where you can watch it all unfold.
And if we connect this back to that bigger picture again, I mean, the championship battle right at the front, it really appears to be intensifying significantly, doesn't it? Plus, this home race in Barcelona, it presents a massive moment, a huge opportunity, particularly for the Spanish drivers, SAINZ and ALONSO, who are certainly hoping for, a change in fortune after that challenging Monaco weekend.
It truly is setting up to be a fascinating weekend at Montmeló. You really feel the anticipation building.
Absolutely. And considering those momentum shifts we've just talked about, that tight gap now between Piastri and Norris at the top, and with Verstappen maybe facing a bit more of a challenge than usual, it does raise an important question, I think. Could Barcelona, which is a circuit with very different characteristics from Monaco, right?
Yeah.
Much more traditional, could this be the race that fundamentally alters the championship dynamic even further? It's definitely something to ponder as we look forward to the weekend's action.